إيرو تروريست آمن أنا أول إيرو تروريست أو كاسة كو لزاروك أكتر سالي دكتور.
So we're in southeast Turkey on our way to a small town called Cizre, which is near the Syrian border. And we're on our way there because the youth wing of the PKK, the YDGH, has claimed autonomy there and have taken over certain Kurdish neighbourhoods by digging trenches and setting up roadblocks. This has caused a lot of fighting, there have been gun battles, and 3 days ago the military shot dead a 14-year-old boy. The PKK is a Kurdish resistance movement fighting the Turkish state for Kurdish rights since 1984. Now in a peace process with Turkey, who classifies the PKK as a terrorist organisation, their fighters are battling the Islamic State on the front lines in Iraq and Syria. In the town of Cizre, the PKK's youth wing, known as the YDGH, have been recently involved in gun battles with the security forces and Turkish Hezbollah in some of the worst fighting in the area for years. After gaining access to the YDGH in Cizre, Vice News went to meet with them at one of their many armed checkpoints, which are manned every night from 7 AM to 7 PM. By the time we got to Cizre, at least 6 Kurds had already been killed in the streets. We managed to make contact with the YDGH and they said they would lead us to their neighbourhood, the one that they control. And as they led us up here, as soon as we got around the corner, we saw maybe 15, 20 guys, all with masks on. We've seen at least 2 pretty big assault rifles, so presumably this is their neighbourhood and it very much looks like they have the arms to control it. So you're the commander at this checkpoint, right? Can you explain to me exactly what it is you guys are doing here?
أم لقال خاطر فارزن، أم لحجكري قال خوانا، أم لبر قال خوا، أم لكولانا دنا، أم ناخذن تزيد شبه، أم ناخذن تشتري قريش شبن، جبر وياك، أم جبر قال خوا صار بيانا.
Could you show us what it is you're doing? Yeah. So we can go.
لدجمن دخازي أب كولان ذاكريبن دخازي إيريشة ما بكي، جبر وياك ما أقدر كولانا، ما عندك فاكرنا، دخانا كو دجمن لإيريشة ما ناكي. لجوانا داز ناكي، لجوانا قتل ناكي.
Why did you guys start this in the first place? Why did you decide to take over the neighbourhood and run it for yourselves?
هم جبر دجمن، هم جبر إنسان كو قريش، إيريشة قريش يعني إنسانك دز فوشتي لباس نامايا، ويشترجين نامايا، أم فوجي قتل نامايا، لباس تكس جبر يدقاش نكاري، لفوشتي لفرا، لأوجي ترك بندهاتن فرا إيريشة قريش ذكرن. Is what
you do here connected to, you know, the YPG in Syria and the PKK in the front line in Kobani? In the Turkish media recently they've been saying that your actions doing things like this are actually not positive and are disrupting the peace process. What would you say to that?
يعني جاجي دبيجي دخازنش جاجي ببرسن يرو جوانين يا دقاشي جبر خوا لجوا زاروكك 14 سالي كانجي كشتيا يرو لدولتا أخبي دولتا ترك لجوانا كيما شو اللي خد هات لراس قالا في شيك برداي كشت شيء تخص تشتاقنا كري ليش ايش دات ايريش قري ساكر يرو قاتل امن انا اون يرو تيروريست امن انا اون.
So we're about to go meet the family of Umit Kurt, the 14-year-old who was shot dead by Turkish special forces just 5 days ago. I have to ask, some people in the media in Turkey have been saying that because the paramilitaries like the Yedagahash are in this area. If they didn't have the guns, then perhaps the special forces wouldn't be here. I mean, what do you think to that?
Varobie, to zaten kuşçaya beji, başka çedi beji. Kurum ne abi? Vakti az iki kuşun zaten zibi vakti alek. İftira, murat ki devlet. Devleti kuşçaya niyet evvel şeydi ve beji. Yani gündem atıştığım tedet binin. Devlet şekil nasbihi beselime. Devlet atık devlet şekil nasbihi beselime. Am jveters. Am günnehi. يوالي شيء كامي حمي خوش تبدا شاوطين والله اللي ما بجزرهم خوفي خوين داش قهر شاوطين قلتني ما خلاص ما بها قلت اني نادي ازبج ضل من نفساكن ايش قهر بس خنتي مالك قال لي حاجتك ناقلك
We just turned up in the neighbourhood where Umit Kurt was shot 5 days ago, and as soon as we got here, we saw the YDGH. Good to meet you. What are you doing here? Can you explain to me?
جاي من نقطة معنا أبدأ جي النقطة إميت قورتا فاكر النقطة إميت قورت نقطة ما ولا بيدا دشة جدي مع لاسي قوم بلا دقيقة حتى دشة وده بيقاسكي باشا لبالي عم تخوزي دشمن ناكبة طاقة ماذا شدا ما دشمن كبة طاقة ماذا هواله ما قال برينداد والشهيد كبنا دشمن پس لای مازن تما ام پس لای کلاشکو بده ام نابرد دشمن تی طاقت دشمن برده ما شما دشمن که طاقت جوان ما امید خورد حواله ما شهید بده ها بده شدغولی هات بده ساکن نزن دشمن هاتیه کار که بچر مال خوا چو انگار دشمن هاتی جی جیلان برن حال بده کان شهید کرد کار که ولی فقط دشمن ولی فقط بده کات کمت کرده.
Everybody says, you know, Yedagahash is PKK youth. Is that true?
بلا ترکاجی به باش بزنه ام جی PKK نبوده. ترکات بهشون تروریست لبالم نه تروریستن. ام ملت خود پارسن. ام آقا خود خوازن. آقا ما جزیره بوده بده کردستانه.
So you take direct orders from the PKK, is that correct?
راست.
We spoke to a commander at a different checkpoint the other day who said he felt like almost the Kurds here, or the Yedagahash at least, were in a civil war with the Turks. What do you think to that? Would you agree?
اما او چقا برس بده اما برسوا مازن بده و بلا بشقار باش بزاند اول ما بده شهید کرد بلا دولت ترکیه به باش بزاند ام خینا شهید خو نایل عرده خینا شهید خو دیجی اما روش کی برس بده دشمن ام خینا شهید خو نایل عرده به سروک جیان نابه
As night fell, the police and the YDGH began to fight for control of the streets.
امکاناتی نه یعنی چه به این سواش همه دست مده.
So we heard a few loud bangs, and it seemed that the YDGH here have been fighting the police in the city centre. We've heard reports that the military have closed off all exits from Cizre as well, and we've seen military APCs in the streets. So basically we just moved towards the front of the fighting here. The Yedagahash seem to be communicating with each other in the neighbourhood. The trucks are coming around the corner firing tear gas, and these guys are pulled back here to this makeshift roadblock that they built. Yedagahash just told all the civilians, all the kids to get out of the way. There are Molotovs everywhere, and they've told us we can go through and push forward, so off we go. As the clashes intensified, the YDGH spread out to the alleyways. Here they got closer to the police and special forces, who eventually opened fire in our direction.
So we were just at the top of this alley. The police or the military there fired live rounds right around here. This guy just comes out with a handgun, runs up to the top of the alley and just starts firing literally just after we've had live rounds fired this way. But they claim they're keeping hold of their own streets.
The next day, an order came directly from jailed PKK leader Abdullah Öcalan, telling the youth of Cizre to stand down. They responded immediately, stopping all armed activity in the streets. The following day, 12-year-old Nihat Kazanan was shot dead. A policeman has since been arrested on suspicion of killing the boy. There's now concern that the unrest in Cizre could threaten the peace process, which has so far quelled a war that has claimed more than 40,000 lives. With YDG hate groups popping up all over the country and its members primed for war after the fighting in Kobani, Turkey could be heading into more conflict with its largest minority.